dying strong out there in the streets every single day. I got you. Yeah.
I will defend my brothers. I will defend the weak. I will pursue and fight evil so others may sleep. I am the sheepdog, protecting the night. Wolf hunters unite. Bring it on. It's time to fight. As that alarm clock beeps and wakes you from your sleep, pull back the sheets. It's time to hit the streets. Dudes, fresh shave your face. Girls, put up your hair. Back breaking and aching from the equipment that you wear. Face to face with your locker, strapping on your vest. Pray to God it'll block a hollow point from your chest. Join up with the squad, that's the crew of the night. Here again, our evil man took another life. Got a price on your head, brother, better beware. Load up that Glock and prepare yourself for warfare. Spread trips to the concrete in this dead heat. Load up that Crown Vic and get back up on the beat. Play the fools what you get, not even a damn handshake. As the sun sets on that city landscape, nothing can stop you, snow, rain, or thunder. Gotta hold that blue line tight, you're the wolf hunter. I will defend my brothers, I will defend the weak. I will pursue and fight evil so others may sleep. I am the sheepdog, protecting the night. Wolf hunters unite, bring it on. It's time to fight. I will defend my brothers, I will defend the weak. I will pursue and fight evil so others may sleep. I am the sheepdog, protecting the night. Wolf hunters unite, bring it on. It's time to fight. No words can express the lack of respect. No arrest of a suspect's unchecked. They say you ain't shit and you always tell lies. It's so quick to pick up and call when victimized. Riots and protests, it's always us they blame. It's expected, not regretted when a hero cop is slain. Never freeze up in fear when everyone's stomachs in knots. Who else you know running towards the gunshots? You know you're not alone. Take a look around. Look past the hate that you feel surrounds your town. The civil unrest, it needs to be addressed. So obsessed with judgment in the form of protest. So quick to judge and point fingers and blame. All the rifles and knives and yet we can't take aim. In the streets and the chants, they can't be muted. We're on the marches when a hero cop is executed, huh? I will defend my brothers, I will defend the weak. I will pursue and fight evil so others may sleep. I am the sheepdog, protecting the night. Wolf hunters unite, bring it on. It's time to fight. I will defend my brothers, I will defend the weak. I will pursue and fight evil so others may sleep. I am the sheepdog, protecting the night. Wolf hunters unite, bring it on. It's time to fight. Every push-ups for justice, each sit-ups for peace. Yet prepared for that battle waging up in the streets. Push the memories aside, keep the hate out of sight. Always on prowl for evil that lurks within the night. They sent down their shepherd so that he could protect the flock. To overwatch and keep track of those that he's lost. When evil brings the fight, you know it's outnumbered. Sink your teeth in his back, you're the wolf hunter. I will defend my brothers, I will defend the weak. I will pursue and fight evil so others may sleep. I am the sheepdog, protecting the night. Wolf hunters unite, bring it on. It's time to fight. I will defend my brothers, I will defend the weak. I will pursue and fight evil so others may sleep. I am the sheepdog, protecting the night. Wolf hunters unite, bring it on. It's time to fight.
Hey, Ray, I don't know if you knew this or not, but we've been on this show now for close to 2 years. But Ash Wednesday's been on Friday, but close to a year already, right, guys? About a year already?
Yeah.
We've had Ash Wednesday? Well, you've been on every picture with Doug. I don't know if you knew that or not, but we've had over 150 episodes, and your picture's been on there, you know?
There must be so much something on my way with that. But.
Hey, Ray, you don't get royalties, okay?
You start asking for pennies. Hey, guys, you know what? This song is perfect today. And I know, Doug, you're going to do the intro, but we're talking about this song, Sheepdog, Wolf Hunter, and we have a real wolf hunter here. When you were on the PD, Ray, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it as we go along, but I think this song fits perfectly with you as our guest. And with that said, like I said, Doug will do the introductions. We're going to welcome everybody that's watching us on the show. We got prayers for today, reaching souls. Hello, David. Have you heard about the 1989 AS street shooting where Rangers shot it out with the Crips? Jesus Christ loves you. Sean, I believe you were going to try to get somebody that was involved in that. Maybe you could help us in the next couple of months. Get one of these Army Rangers, Sean, to come on the show. That got involved in that shooting.
Okay. Sounds good.
That'd be great. So yes, prayers for today. We're gonna Sean's gonna reach out to one of those Rangers, have him on our show. We got San Diego PD, and I know you remember Chris Kilby, Ray.
Affirmative.
You know what? Chris Kilby, man, I'm telling you, this guy was a legend with San Diego PD. I mean, when it came to investigating gangs, when it came to investigating robberies, that guy's still there. He says 1097, Razor Shabo in the house, the godfather of GST. Let's go. And believe it or not, Ray, guess who we have here? John Bailey.
Oh,
John, remember John Bailey? He's watching us all the way from Colorado right now. He's a DA investigator. His job has been for the past couple of years. He retired from San Diego PD, went to the Riverside DA's office. Now he's with the Colorado, one of the city's district attorney's office, and his sole job is to investigate officer-involved shootings. And he says his best, man. He's 97. We got Ceci Escano, one of the originals, man. One of the OGs has been with us from the very beginning. Sister, saludos al pie del cañón. Thank you. And Ray, believe it or not, we got Jim DeJanis. He is a legend when it comes to the California Department of Corrections. He did, I believe, over 16, 17 years in Pelican Bay. When Pelican Bay was at its worst, he was known as Batman in the prison. The guy right now is watching us literally live from Thailand. So I don't know what, I think it's early in the morning over there, but thank you, brother. Yeah, early in the morning in Thailand. He's watching us. Guys, with that said, let's get started. And let's start off with you, Doug. You're the one that's always bringing these great connoisseur whiskeys. Tell us what you're drinking today, brother. We'll go around.
Okay, I'm down to my last two from Austria. So this is the Juhaua, I guess is how you pronounce it. Single malt whiskey. It's a little bottle right there. It's a 10-year, and it was done in French oak. You would like this a lot. It's kind of got that smoky and kind of peaty bite at the end, but the beginning's really kind of smoky, but the end's got a peaty bite, and I think you would like that one, Dave. But I still don't know if we can get it here in the States yet. I'll let you know next week. How
many of those bottles did you bring, Doug?
It came in a little kit with 6.
Okay.
So this is the fifth one since I've been back. And I've got the last one I'm saving is with American oak. So I'm hoping that's the best.
That is awesome, man. That is awesome. I guess you drink one per episode, right?
Yeah,
you've been back for 4 weeks
per episode, and right now you can't get this at Costco, Dave. Can't get it.
Then I guess I'll let her have it.
Yeah.
Big Sean. I know it's really windy. You're usually outside smoking your cigar, and we're enjoying the beautiful view. You live on that mountaintop overlooking Temecula. But tell us why you're not outside and what are you drinking, my brother?
One, it's windy and it's cold, and I am drinking cranberry black cherry juice. And no, I didn't get it at Costco.
And it's too cold to be outside smoking a cigar, right?
It's a little brisk outside. We get a hell of a breeze. I tell you, we're blessed. I don't know about where Benny lives, but we get a breeze.
Yeah.
We get a breeze.
Hey, Ray. Once again, we're going to have the formal introduction, but what are you drinking, brother?
Well, Q, which was his nickname on GST, Doug Collier, told me I had to bring something to drink. So a friend of ours gave me and my girlfriend this
nice
tequila. It's outstanding. It's got great flavor to it. We helped him find a great house, and so he gave us this bottle, and so that's what we're drinking. It's really good.
So tell us about the taste. How is it? Is it strong? Is it smoky?
It has a sweetness to it. And David, I can't talk Spanish like you. I just love to hear you say the name. Do you have a way of saying those things?
I can't see it. What is it, Bobby? Can you see it?
It's a Reserva. I think it's the family. What is it called? La Familia. It's a Cuervo, but it's a $high Cuervo. I've had it. It's very good.
Good stuff, huh? Wow.
Excellent. It's excellent.
I'm going to have to get me as soon as they sell it at Costco. I buy everything at Costco.
Sorry, Dave. They don't have it at Costco.
Yeah, not yet. Yeah. Hey, Bobby, what are you drinking, brother? Surprise us and then tell us what you're smoking.
You want peaty? You want smoky?
There you go.
Right there.
Yeah,
this is an acquired taste. When I first had it, I was working in Haiti, and RSO gave me some. I thought he was messing with me because I thought it tastes like burnt tires. but it's now one of my go-tos. I love it. And pouring myself some right now. And I'm smoking a cigar I've never had. I just left the cigar lounge, and it's called El Borracho. It's a full-body Maduro from, I think it's made by the Oliva Cigar Company. So I'm going to try it for the first time. So
you know what? I think it's made by a medium because it's predicting how you're going to be after smoking that cigar and drinking that bottle of the frog. El Borracho. Hey, I don't know if you know that, Ray, but that is Cesar Solis's favorite drink. If he drinks scotch, it's La Frog. He loves that stuff. As a matter of fact, when he retired, I bought him a bottle of that.
How's Caesar doing? I haven't seen him forever.
You know what? He's doing wonderful. Wow. He was here. He actually, I don't know. I guess test drives racing cars. And about a year ago, he went to North Carolina, I think South Carolina somewhere, Doug.
South Carolina.
And on the way home, he stopped here and we made a steak dinner for him. We had a bottle of the Frog and we smoked a cigar. As a matter of fact, maybe I'll find the picture. I'll post it up before you leave. Yes, we've bought one of those 10-year bottles of the Frog. And but he came down here to visit me here in Apollo Beach. He's doing wonderful, Ray. He's doing great.
Man.
He's doing good. Yeah. And guys, with that said, Doug, tell us who we have, man. Even though we've already talked so much about Ray, we're honored to have him.
So tonight we've got Ray Shay. I've known Ray for a long time. I've worked for him for, let's see, out of 3 units that I've worked at the PD. So I was first introduced to Ray in 1989 at the Special Enforcement Division when he was my sergeant there. And then after the breakup of that, he went off to another assignment. I went back to Central. And then he was the very first sergeant for the gang suppression team when I went back. And again, he was my sergeant there. I got promoted. He kept getting promoted. And then my last assignment before my deployment to Afghanistan was Central Division as a sergeant, and he was my lieutenant. So he was the gentleman that I went to and discussed my my departure, my leave of absence for a year. And then he threw me a huge party at, I forgot the name of the pub that was downtown, but it was nice, where a bunch of old buddies came out and got a bunch of gifts and some well-to-dos and before my deployment. So Ray's got a great story to tell. He's done and seen a lot of things, and I'll let him just, share with us his time on when he started, how he got started and that kind of stuff. But tonight it's Ray Shay. He's well known at the department. And we're going to talk about what he does now also.
All right.
So, Ray, it's up to you. Tell us how you got started and when you got started. And
hey, I just always dreamed of being a cop since I was an infant. Almost an infant. My mom said that the cops brought me home one time in my big wheel, and it was a cop smoking a cigarette in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and never changed what I wanted to be. So I've been a cop. I loved it, and just loved being part of working with all the people on this show. That was the best part of the job, was working Logan Heights, Southeast San Diego, Mid-City Division, variety of units, but just carrying a badge, wearing a uniform, and absolutely loved working around all of you guys. So that was good.
When did you start? When did you go to the academy?
Okay, I went to the academy in 1981. So I was in the academy in 1981, and then from there did field assignments with John, a couple of different training officers, and found that I liked working in poor communities. And that's where I found my most job satisfaction, working around people like David. And I saw Cristano in the picture with you and some of those guys. The early to mid 80s in Logan Heights was very busy. And we probably had the highest murder rate that's ever had in San Diego. And we just relied on each other a lot. So I really had a great time.
Hey, Ray, how did you end up in San Diego from being from Albuquerque, New Mexico?
You know what? I was going to be a cop in Albuquerque. First 2 ride-alongs were great. The third ride-along, the guy showed me a different side of APD. I remember a fat prostitute came up, reached in, grabbed his package, and he hit me in the elbow and says, "Kid, it's just one of the advantages of being APD." I thought, oh my gosh. I grew up on chips. 1 out of 12 all the cop shows. And then before he went home and took me home, he walked in and beat a guy up in a mobile home. And so I woke my mom up. I said, Mom, I can't be a cop here. And my brother lived in San Diego. So I said, okay, I'm going to San Diego. And
Ray, maybe that's why they were on a federal decree.
what's that?
Maybe that's why they were on a federal decree.
It's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a dangerous city, but I'd love to
Yeah,
go
it
back
is. Yeah.
there. So it's good.
Hey, Ray, so when you got to San Diego, how old were you when you went through the academy?
I was 21.
Wow, you were a kid.
21, maybe just barely 22, because I was rejected for 2 times. And I told the background sergeant, I'll be back. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to. So.
And when you went, because you know what, there's a lot of cause. As a matter of fact, right now, Bob Lopez, remember Bob Lopez?
Of course, I remember Bobby.
Yeah. Well, Bobby's watching us right now. I believe he's in a home right now. He's had some ailments that he's struggling with. But we love Bob, man. He's always with us. He's been with us from the beginning.
Yeah, I miss him.
But who went through the academy with you?
Oh my gosh. Let me try and think who was in the academy with me. I'm trying to remember some of the specifics. It's not coming to my mind exactly who.
It wasn't Dave Ramirez, right? Mark Jones. It wasn't that.
Mark
that
Jones
group.
came on later. Mark Jones came on later. Mostly, John Tancredi. I think he went through with me. Mary Cornicelli. Yeah, I'd have to look at the pictures. But there's a lot of good people that stayed with the department a long time.
Yeah.
Well, Mary Cornicelli, I thought she was a lot older than us. I guess she wasn't.
No.
Yeah, maybe she was
Just
21
the job.
also at the time. Yeah. That's interesting. So out of the academy, did you go straight to Logan Heights, Central Division?
No, after all my phase training, I ended up at Central Division. And that's where I worked with Joel Bryden, John Tancredi. No, it was a great assignment. And you were in the 10s. You guys came and joined us in the 10s. It was all good.
Oh, man, you know what? In the 80s, I mean, early 80s, even when I came on late 80s, Logan Heights was rocking, man, with PCP. Remember all the PCP back then?
Yeah, we did a lot of those that know Zardes Bashir was one of those that we arrested a lot, but we dealt with PCP every single night. And so they'd all, vertical, horizontal nystagmus, smell like chemical, strong as heck, ripping stuff off walls like water heaters, but it was all good.
And that was before you had rubber gloves and all the other protection.
Yeah, no, you never had rubber gloves.
Grabbing it with your hands and throwing it in paper bags and I put it in your pocket.
Yeah,
that's right.
Oh, good. Yeah. For a kid. Well, I hope you get that kidney soon, Robert.
Yeah, Bobby, go ahead. Bobby, I know you wanted to come on.
Yeah, in 1981, I started the academy. I was 21 years old. And all the guys in my academy class, you could tell who were the guys that later on had the really good careers. We all wanted to go to the inner city, or we all wanted to go to South Phoenix where all the action was at. And you guys are talking about PCP. All the PCP we were getting in Phoenix was coming from San Diego. And later I did an undercover case where Saul Ayala and I were buying lots of PCP, and the supplier was a black family from San Diego. So, we dealt a lot with that.
You were probably in Southeast, without a doubt. Without a doubt, you were in Southeast buying it from them. And our gangsters from Logan Heights were buying it from Compton.
Yeah.
Compton, and you guys were coming. That's interesting. Hey, Ray, this picture, I remember this is July 18th, I believe, 1984. Were you working Logan Heights at the time, and you responded to the San Isidro massacre? I remember when this picture first hit, I wasn't a cop yet, but I remember looking at that, and that made national news. Can you talk a little bit about your response to that?
Yeah. It took me a long time, probably 20 years to ever talk about it. But it's a day you'll never forget. But the biggest thing is I made a big mistake that day, because when I rolled up, one person was shot carrying another one, and we just thought it was an armed robbery. And so the person that was being dragged out had been shot in the thigh. So we grabbed him. I was in my patrol car on the freeway, right on the freeway side of the McDonald's. And so we grabbed him and threw him in the car. And then took him to the hospital, came back. And then when the sniper was able to finally kill James Huberty, they screamed for, hey, we need more units inside. and we need medics inside. So we walked into McDonald's, and actually the FBI had me give a presentation that they agreed not to tape about the experience in there. But it was very chaotic. Obviously, a lot of sound, a lot of noises, a lot of smells, a lot of people moaning. Most people were dead inside. And then when we carried some people out, or carried a woman out, then I saw those two little boys on the side. I thought the one was still alive because his eyes were open, looking straight ahead. He had beautiful blonde hair, green eyes. And I never seen, and I hesitate to go into many details about this because I think about the families. I think about the people, how much people suffered at that situation. But I am actually just finished a screenplay that hopefully that isn't just about McDonald's, it's about what all of us did in the 80s, what us did in the 90s. So I hope that'll come out or offered, try and get someone to develop it at the end of summer, something like that. But I think I felt a lot of guilt because of that, because I never should have stopped. I should have kept going. And so that's just something personally that I've had to deal with. And it's amazing. I couldn't even talk about this even 10 years ago, 5 years ago. And by writing the movie, it's been very painful. In fact, there's a lot of nights I just had to stop while I was writing. But I would suggest any cops out there, we all saw so much death. I mean, Jerry Hartless was one of my trainees. We carried him to his grave, and he'd only been in the field 6 months. Roop and Tana Hill, we all of us had beers with Kim, 2 nights before she was killed. And you can think of Ron Davis, we were on SWAT at the time, and he was shot in that parking lot in Southeast. We lost 11 cops in 11 years. And I think during the whole career, it was like 15 cops. And we were the most dangerous city in America to be a cop. But I loved every day I was a cop. And I'd never change being a cop in San Diego with the people on the screen, the people I had the honor to work with. And I just felt honored to be a cop, carry a badge, and represent the good things that are in America and what cops do. Cops save lives. And a lot of times there's lives we couldn't save. The SED team got in a shooting outside in Mira Mesa where we had 5. Doug, I don't think you were there. The Crips from Long Beach Crips did the armed robbery, and everyone shot Big Head. Unfortunately, Big Head's not with us anymore. And who is it?
It was Oscar Vasquez was there. Jack Nish was there.
Yeah.
It was
Rickman and Paul on the other side.
And Brad Pog, yeah.
The only advice I can give to someone, if you have an armed encounter, I made a mistake because I split the team, the SED officers on both sides of the house. Gang members came out dressed as Halloween guys, and we were in the same tactical frequency with robbery, and there was a lot of yelling going on. But anyway, regardless, I should have had the whole team stack up on one side, that we all access the threat at the same time. But that's what, it's police work. It's about learning. It's about figuring out how to do it better. It's supporting your officers, doing the right thing, telling the truth, all the things that I believe in. And I felt very honored to be part of every day I had that badge on. It was awesome.
Hey, Ray, after how many years on patrol did you apply for SWAT?
I was pretty lucky. I think I got, because I came on in 81. I think I was 3 years on, or 2.5 years. And then I got on SWAT. I was a SWAT officer, SWAT sergeant, SWAT lieutenant, XO, and CO. I had the honor of working with Cesar Solis, a lot of good cops, and SWAT. I love SWAT. But my favorite assignment, Q, was with you and everyone, Freeway, was gang suppression team. Because all of us knew what it was like back then when you roll up to 32 and K and guys bust and run, and you're by yourself, and you're jumping fences, and the guy gets away. And then that went on. And then props to Adolfo Gonzalez and Chief Anderson, because I kept hounding Adolfo, we got to do something. These guys are doing the drive-by at 32 and K. Then they're going back to East Side Piru. They're going back to 59 Brem. They're going back to, here or there. And we can't go back across. So the got so high that they finally said, okay. And my favorite was when Adolfo came up and said, okay, Ray, you got what you wanted. I go, really? And he goes, yeah, you picked 10 officers. And I go, I get to pick all 10, right? He goes, yes. And so I picked Doug Collier right there. I picked Andy Spear, picked 8 other just exceptional officers, a mix of playmakers, Camp Thongrebong. We got Michael G, Micah Terrace right there.
Yep.
Kirby, you just have a wide number of just great street cops. And as gang suppression team sergeant, the biggest thing I focused on with them was watch out for your partner. And it sounds funny, but we said no profanity ever. And the problem is that, God, he's a pain in the ass to work with. But by setting the standards that you don't tolerate profanity, you don't tolerate excessive force, we play it clean. Because a lot of us wrote it with LAPD. I took the gang suppression team twice up to LAPD. And we saw some things up there that we didn't like, the way they interacted with the gang members. But in San Diego, we played it up front. We didn't take the rags, throw it in the mud. We had no cheap shots, no punching. You be honest, you be sincere. You're out there to stop violence. And I think the gang members respected that we never beat on them. But we took them down hard. And it was so much better going into an area. We'd have Q, Freeway, all the other cops, Frank Horman, OV, that we said, okay, who's got the alley, who's got the street? We're rolling down. And then the communication, we call them bogeys and bandits. It's a bogey if we think he's a gang member. If it's really a gang member, we call him, hey, we got a bandit going here. And so we would separate, go down tactically, and they drop their guns, they jump the fence, or they have their guns. And that was my absolute favorite assignment because I knew every night we were saving lives. We called it a strap book. And it sounds funny, but it's okay. Anytime we get a gun, we get a picture of it. We put it in our book. And I don't know who has that book now, but I was blessed that Chief Englishman said, you can pick your own 10 officers. Because if you can look around, all of us know who the good street cops are. All of us know.
Hey, Ray, were you working Central Division at the time when you came up with this, or where were you assigned where Adolfo basically said, hey, pick 10? I mean, that's unheard of. That's unheard of. But, where were you at when you decided that? Oh, SCD, okay.
No, but I don't know. Did SCD get disbanded and we got sent back to patrol or something? Q, do you remember?
Yeah.
You're better at that thing.
We got disbanded, and then everybody got sent back to area stations, and we got various assignments. And then I think it was like within 2 years, GST started.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
You're mute, Doug, I think.
Hey, Doug, I think you went mute, Doug. Let me see. Yeah, I think Doug, I think you went mute.
Mute.
I'm trying to unmute him. We can't unmute him. I think he hit the button accidentally.
You're mute, Doug.
There we go, Doug. You went mute.
I had a train by.
No.
But I think the SED disbanded in 91, I believe, late 91. Is that right, Sean?
Yes. Yeah.
And then GST started late 93, early 94, I believe. Yeah. So.
Yeah, because they formed everybody out.
Yeah, I think Ray, you were Drywaller's task force or something.
I was just going to ask him that. He hasn't mentioned his best assignment ever, because he was working with Carlos Chacon. And I want to thank Ray. I don't think I ever thank you for this. When you left over there, they come up to me and says, hey, how'd you like to work the Drywaller's task force? And I go, the what? I got to babysit labor guys with Carlos Chacon for like 2-3 weeks.
Good job, Murphy.
Yeah, hey, it wasn't mine, man. I just let Carlos do what he did.
Hey, Ray, I don't know if you remember, but throughout my career, that's the only time I got a chance to work for you, and that was at the Drywallers Task Force, and my partner was Dave Dolan. And I know you're not going to remember this, but I was dating a new girl, which isn't my wife at the time. It was another girl, and we were talking one night, and you go, "Hey, Dave, you like Hiroshima?" I go, "I've never heard of Hiroshima." I wasn't that, widely known about music. And you
Right.
go, I got some extra tickets. He goes, I got 2 tickets with a dinner for Hiroshima. Why don't you take your new girlfriend out?
No
And I don't
way.
know if you remember this, and it was at Humphreys, and you gave me the night off. I was working, me and Dave Dolan were partners. You gave me the night off. He goes, it's on me, David. Have a great time. I'll
Oh,
never forget that. Never
Oh my
forget that.
gosh, that's
Yeah.
funny, David. I don't remember that.
No.
I do remember I was
Was it a
dating a
good concert?
dispatcher that loved Hiroshima music, and I
Yeah.
think we got in the splits or something.
And I came along and you gave it. And you know what? It's things like that we never forget. You know what I mean? And when Doug told me you were coming on, I go, I'll tell you, Ray was loved, but he was hated at the same time. And he goes, what do you mean? Everybody loved Ray. I go, no. I go, if you were a lazy piece of shit, you hated Ray because Ray, you know what, held you accountable. And everybody, I mean, you were that sergeant, that lieutenant, that you had to work. You had to produce because you produced. You didn't lead from behind. You didn't lead you led beside each other. And I'll never forget that, Ray, that you did that for me. And throughout my career, like I said, I always knew where you were at. I would always try to go as either as a sergeant or wherever you were at. But like I said, that moment that I did work for you at the Drywallers Task Force, I never forgot, because you took not only good care of me there, but you took good care of the team.
But David,
Excellent
you're so
presentation.
calm and you're so good talking to people. And I do remember how you interact with the drywallers and the way you treated people. Everyone I worked with treated people very well. And I think I became a better leader when I had kids. And I think that I did push people hard because I felt so honored to have that job. But I think once I had a couple boys, it softened me, because once you have kids, it kind of changes you as a leader.
Yeah.
So I think that changed.
But we all respected you, Ray, because we knew that, you know what, you were that leader, that we weren't going to have a 2-hour lunch. We were not going to have a 6-hour kickback. No, you know what? We were going to go produce, and we did. And I know GST, right, Doug? I think you could testify to that, right, Doug?
I remember Ray would get upset with us because we had an acronym we used for when we take a break in the middle of shift, and it reflected a unit that used to come out with us, and both Sean and Ray at one time were on the team. It was SRT, and it was snack response time. It got that nickname because there was a time when SRT came out with us when we were in STD and weekend, because we were getting shot at. I mean, as officers, we were getting sniped at. So SRT came out with it. They were our armed bodyguards, and that's kind of funny to say that we had to have, there's a security as a police officer, but we really did. And these guys were always hungry. So that's how the SRT thing came up. And Ray was like, you guys got to quit saying that in front of those guys.
One thing I can say about Ray's team when we were in SED, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ray, there were some teams in SED that when they went 10-8, you didn't hear or see from them until they came 10-19 at the end of the shift.
Remember how many SED officers it take to interview?
6.
I remember that.
6 to 8.
6. 2 to write the FI and 4 to say, I know that guy.
I know that guy.
I remember that.
So I said, well, no. And GST, I'm thankful for every one of those officers worked so hard. They were nonstop.
Good thing they were good natured, because they would have kicked our ass.
Yeah, look at those OGs. Oh, my God.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at them. I mean, Mike Gutierrez. I mean, look at all those guys.
Jim Jarrett. There's the whole group.
Yes. So real quick with GST for Ray is that the years that I was on it, our team we got into one shooting, and that was very early on. And that was when Luis Valenzuela was chasing that gangster down a 5'9", and he was going over fences, and the gangster pulled out a gun. And Louis is the only guy that's got eyes on him, and because we're doing the trail, we had a whole system set up where he was going across yards, and we were paralleling him, and we heard a shot go off, and I was like, oh crap! I mean, it was like right there, and Louis got on the air and said, shots fired, and we ended up Andy Spear and I caught the guy at the end, and he had a big vial of PCP in his pants, and it ended up breaking, and it was a mess. There was PCP all over us, all over him. But Louis said that he had a gun. That's why he was hopping the fence, turned around, and pointed the gun at Louis, and Louis kept send off a round down range. And when we got him, he didn't have a gun, and we're like, no, he's got to have a gun. He's got to have a gun. And Ray put it all together, and we started searching the area for the gun. And I think it was Oscar Vasquez actually found a chip in a wall, and the gun fell into a puddle of water, and that's why we couldn't see it, and we recovered it. But what really broke it was like how we put that gun in that guy's hand is that he had a disposable camera on him, and we had that camera, the film done, and he was posing with that in front of the market where the foot chase started, posing with the gun, and he had it on his camera. And that was
nice.
But that was our first encounter with, holy crap, this is real. Homicides there, everybody's there because it's an officer involved shooting. And basically after that, it was like, okay, guys, this is probably best not to do this again, because it took all freaking night. And there was a lot of questions because that camera didn't come back for about a week, I think, because we had to send stuff off to get it done back then. It wasn't instantaneous.
Hey, did we call Louis Pumpkinhead? Remember?
Oscar called him Pumpkinhead.
Louis Venezuela. What do we call him? We call them Fluffy. Didn't we call him Fluffy?
Was it Fluffy?
Why was it? Why do we call Louis Fluffy?
Yeah.
Well, Oscar called everybody Pumpkinhead. So
you know what? He was a good cop. Louis was a great cop. Hey, Bobby, did you guys have like we have a GST gang suppression team with Phoenix PD?
Yeah, I was part of the gang squad. We had a gang team. So we had the street enforcement. So I'm hearing what you guys are saying. And to this time, you had those units are small. We had 10 man. Yeah. We had like 8 to 10 man squads. But to get there was very competitive. And if you happen to sneak through the cracks and you get there, you don't produce, usually the squad will police itself and force the guy out. And if not, then it has to be done by a boss. But to this time, I have a message group. I think it's on Signal. And 10 of us are in this group. And we're all retired. And that's a group that I tell you, we go golfing every August. We go get an Airbnb and we have a whiskey, cigars, and golf. But those teams are fun. We were just in unmarked cars. We had the black BDUs and just jumping out. We had 2-man units and unmarked detective cars. And we just rode around with the Kojak lights. And all we did is proactive, on view enforcement on the heavy gang areas. And we were getting in foot pursuits every night. It's a great time.
I think when we started SED, and I think it was supposed to morph into something like Metro, LAPD Metro, and that's why we had a weekend, and now we're bringing all these SWAT guys in, and there were going to be 6 10-man or 10 officer SWAT teams, but they came up with this idea, but they didn't equip us. We had no vehicles. So, and all our keys worked in all the cars. So we're just transitioning over to the black and whites. So a few of us will remain nameless because, well, let's put it this way. We acquired all our cars from various substations in the wee hours of the evening. And one day, Jim Klain called me up. And I thought he was down in South Bay, and I'm in the SED office, and I answered the phone, and he goes, "Hey, Murph, Klain." I said, "Hey, LT," and he goes, "Hey, we're missing 4 or 5 cars down here in Southern Division. You wouldn't have them, would you?" And I go, "No. What numbers are there?" And he gave me the numbers, and I said, "No, we don't have them. All 5 of them are sitting right in the front of HQ, right in front of SED office." And I'm looking out the window, and here comes Klain out the vice office. And he walks right past those cars. He stops. He looks back, and he reads all the numbers. He looks up over the 3rd floor, and then here's the phone ringing. I go, special enforcement, Agent Murphy. And he goes, hey, you little bastard, you got our cars. Oh, cars. But, you know, they were all white pieces of crap, right?
Yeah.
You know, and then Nayrich and I, we stole the prisoner van. We had Big Whitey with us all the time. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, we had to steal everything that we had.
Hey,
Yeah.
Sean, I guess we're confessing a feeling today, huh?
Oh yeah, you know, the statute of limitations is over with now, man.
So Ray,
Go ahead.
So after GST, Ray, what did you do after GST?
What did I do after GST? Oh, that did Night Vice, and it was a good run, but I think in my career it's probably my least favorite assignment. So I did that 2 years, and I was promoted to lieutenant. So
Hey, Ray, I have three. They're not quick questions, but
Yeah.
I'm going to take you back in time.
okay,
If it's okay with you.
yeah.
Can you tell us your most memorable moment in patrol? That's one. And then share with us, go back in time, your most memorable moment in patrol, and then take us to your most memorable moment in GST, and then take us on another journey, the last journey, on your most memorable moment in SWAT. 3 things: patrol,
Gosh,
GST, and SWAT. Take your time with it.
let's
Go
do
back
it
in
backwards.
time.
Let's do
Yeah.
it backwards. Let's.
Okay.
Like, one of my funnest times in SWAT was, I don't know which of you were involved in that, but do you remember the 3-day hostage situation at the whole high rise?
Yeah, the hotel on Harbor Island. Yeah, we were there. Yeah.
Harbor Island. And it was fun because me and Jones, I mean, we're there for 72 hours. EMT's cooking bacon, trying to make the person hungry. He has that baby excited that he had kidnapped 2 days earlier. And the guys came out, Steve Cross, who has since passed, God bless him,
Yeah, bless him.
with the idea of, hey, let's put the pizza outside the front door of the hotel. We rehearsed it down below. And while this was going on, someone had changed manager on duty. They had taken the manager's name out. They wrote Sergeant Ray Shay, one of the SWAT officers did. So I thought that was to see those officers rescue that young woman. And then SWAT, we had used ropes. And I think Berinsky was up on the roof using Avon rounds to break the windows, pull the drapes out, and expose them to all the snipers. And the guy's screaming that it's not fair. We can't take her. So, yeah, that's probably one of the most favorable ones on SWAT. And I think being a cop, first time on patrol, my very first day was with John Teft. I'll never forget it because we stopped at a traffic light, and I've been a cop a total of an hour. And I was waving, smiling to people. And he goes, "Rookie, what are you doing?" Waving, saying hi, John. I mean, he goes, "Let's get something fucking straight right now. All those people you've been smiling and waving at for the last couple of hours, none of them will come to save your life. The only people are cops with badges on their chest. They're the only ones you can ever count on to save your life. You got that?" I said, "Yeah." And then we went to a radio call where he made aluminum hat. It was my first day on patrol. This lady thought aliens were influencing her, and Teft had been there before, and he made her this hat. And I said, "Hey, is that what we do? Can we make people hats for people?" He goes, "You're a cop. They'll send us when they can't send anybody else." And so then we were going in. It was the end of the shift, and then we got a radio call of a rape in progress. And it was my first violent crime I ever went to. And we arrived at the scene, and there was a guy holding a blonde female that's naked. It's right there by the old Sears on Cleveland. And we rolled up. Teft was like a beast on the radio. And I'm like going, God, I've been a cop 8 hours. And so then the guy has black marks all over his hands and face. And we're looking at him and we're trying to figure it out. And I catch her. And he says, "Yeah, there was 3 of them. They pushed me under the car and kept kicking me. And then they all took turns with Stephanie." And I thought, fuck, how do people do that to someone? And I still remember in the locker room, John Tangredi was there. I said, "JT, how do people do that?" He goes, "Everyone's not altar boys out here," because I grew up in a very religious family. And I just saw the level of violence to innocent people, and you saw how cops help people. So those are probably the most memorable or things that jump out at my mind when I think about how blessed we were all to be cops. So that's pretty close. That's two.
And what about GST?
GST was just, I mean, every one of those men on that team, I could count on 100%. I could trust 100%. I felt safe. I felt confident. And Howard Williams, once GST knew of a robber, they're going to drive-by shooting 5-9 versus Eastside Piru. And then we had an informant from the FBI saying that there was a guy in a closet, I don't know if you remember this, Doug, that had a gun and he was going to do paybacks. And Howard Williams and the other gang sergeant says, you cannot go to that house. They're mourning it. And then, Doug, we got that information and I said, we got to go. We got to go. So all of us just hit this house. People were running everywhere. People dropping guns. And recovered it. And then 2 hours later, I'm in with the captain, and Adolfo was there. And Howard Williams goes, your team did the bravest thing I've ever seen you guys do. He goes, I can't believe you guys went in there, but you stopped a murder tonight. So Howard, unfortunately, has passed too. Miss him. He's a good man. There's so many good men and women we worked with that I could talk about them for hours. I just felt blessed with. So there's the three.
Yeah, thank you, Ray, for taking us back in time, man. That was beautiful. Thank
Hey,
you.
Ray, the one incident on Harbor Island, we were there for 3 days. I was one of the snipers for 3 days. And all of my 3 days off. So we're counting the ducats, right? We're, hey, the lull in the excitement. Hey, what are you going to do? Man, I'm going to buy me a Rolex. Yeah, I got my first paycheck and they took all the taxes and stuff out in it with a Casio.
Right.
No, that was a good run. No.
Yeah, that was a good run. Yeah.
So when did you retire, Ray? What year did you retire?
2004.
2004. And you went into the real estate business after that?
Yeah, everyone kept going, you're going to go work with Jerry in the mayor's office. I can't believe he left.
Yeah.
I walked into Lansdowne's office. He goes, wait, I'm doing captain's promotions in 10 days. You're really walking away. And I said, I got 3 little boys, Chief, and I think I love them more than wearing this badge. And I got to raise them. So he said, you're out of your fucking mind. He goes, don't do it. And I said, of course. And regardless, it's still been a very good decision because David, you and Doug, all of you, Murph, I mean, 10, 20 years into or 25 years in a career, what scenes have we not been at? What murder have we not seen? Yeah. What hostage incident have we not been? When have we not held another officer that is crying? I mean, we did it all. There's nothing we didn't do. Yeah. And then I was talking to Bryden and a bunch of the other guys. They said, you're fucking crazy. You're crazy. Can we cuss on this show? I don't know.
Yeah. Feel free, brother. Feel free. Yeah.
They go, you're crazy. You're walking away from a 20% pay raise, your own command. And that's what the chief told me. And he said, I'll see you someday here on the 7th floor. And I said, you know, there was a young kid I wanted to help in Logan Heights that never made it out of the gang. And I met him when he was an infant. And, it's kind of a long story. I'll make it really brief. I didn't even recognize him as a little guy. Albert Barnes raised him. His name was Morgan Knight. And he's a good little kid. And he had his fingers tattooed up West Coast Crip. He's like 13. And I remember in the alley holding his hands going, dude, you can come to the station. We'll take care of you. You can get out of this. And he goes, no. And then I got home bathing my kids. And I'm thinking, okay, what's the most important thing in our lives? And we'd all done it. All of you have done everything as cops. Yeah. And so now it's time to raise kids. So that's what I switched to.
Awesome. Go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, I've mentioned this before. I'm hearing you say this. At the tail end of my career, I was working wiretap investigations on the Mexican mafia prison gang. And we're listening to calls and we round up a guy that is a son of a guy that I grew up with. My mom and his mother grew up together, and then me and Gerard Sr. were trick-or-treated together. Gerard Sr. gets killed after he was involved in a police shooting, gets released, gets killed immediately, and now we're rounding up his son for 2 homicides. because he was doing hits for the Mexican mafia. I get home at the end of my shift after like 3 a.m, and my son's in high school, and I peek. I literally had to peek and look at him. His room is covered with baseball posters and everything else. And I'm thinking his biggest trouble is he forgets to throw out the garbage. The sons of my peers are already killing people. And it's like we grew up in the same neighborhood. I'm from inner city Phoenix. I went one way, my peers went the other. And it's humbling. And then I love what you say. It's a blessing that God shined a light on us and drew us away from that life to be able to help others. And like I said, there was a lot of kids I saw growing up. The children of my peers went the wrong way. But somewhere there, that cycle has to be broken. And it's very humbling when you see those of us that went the opposite way and went the right way. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I got one more thing for you, Ray.
Yeah.
What are you doing now with your news? Tell us about your news program.
Okay.
Hey, Doug, can we just, right before we go there, because that'll be the end of the show, I just have two quick questions, and then let's go to the end of the show, because, we got about 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Ray, what do you think your legacy was when you left the police department? That's the question number one, because if you can't answer it, we can. What your legacy was in the police department.
Right.
And we're now at that age. I think you and I are the same age, 65 years old.
Yeah.
I was born 1960, February 15, 1960. Yeah. And when you said you were 21, 81, I was 21. Now, what will your legacy be? I think you can answer that one. What do you want your legacy to be at the end of our last breath? What do you want your legacy to be? And I think we could answer the one on the PD. We can answer that one, and we'll answer it for you.
No, I just think he was a good cop and a good man.
Yeah.
I no more than that. That's, somebody, that's it. That's it.
And I think, I think that we can all attest that you were a great cop, not a good cop, a great cop, great leader. I think all of us can attest to that, a great leader and a man of respect. But at the end of the day, that's what you want your legacy to be? Great cop, great man?
Well, thanks, David. It was very nice of all of you. It's good to catch up, see everybody, and see the different people signing in. Bob Lopez, I hope you get that that medical transplant, and Kilby. And there's so many people I'd love to name, but no, I appreciate this. It's nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
You're definitely coming back. Now, going back to Doug's question. What is it again, Doug Spencer? I'm sorry.
It's Ray Shay News.
Yeah, go to Ray Shay News.
Shay News.
In 2004, my kids, I went through a divorce. It was a train wreck. But what was interesting is when I lose my kids for a week, that was hard for me. And I saw the autonomous zone pop up. And many of you know that I went to the WTO to witness. Me and Sean Donaldson went up there. I was in the riots up in LA. Civil disturbances is something that's always interested me. So I said, okay, I want to know more about civil disturbances. I can go to this autonomous zone. And I saw in the news, the chief said, she's in there. We go in there. I arrived at the autonomous zone, met with a Seattle cop away at a coffee shop. I go, hey, can I go in there? He goes, yeah, you can go in there, but we don't go in there. If you need help, you got to fight your way out. I said, are you kidding me? I'm going to the autonomous zone and you guys don't patrol there at all? He goes, no. He goes, well, where's your gun? You got a gun, right? I said, no, I didn't bring a gun. So that started a journey. Last 5 years, I've gone to riots all over the world, from China to Portland to Seattle. If you go to my Twitter page or go to Ray Shay News, I filmed the firebombing of the federal courthouse in Portland. The video's on there. The next morning I walked into Portland police station. I said, I have a video, attempted murder of federal officers. And they go, we can't look at this, step out. And then I look at the sheriff deputy at the door. I go, I'm a retired lieutenant. Here's my badge. Here's the video. It's on my iPhone. Will you look at? Sorry, Lieutenant, we can't look at it. We can't support anything that's going on there. So I was there night after night where riots were occurring, and you see Portland PD drive right past, sheriff drive right past. Federal officers are fighting for their lives out there.
Wow.
And then when I posted that, all my social media channels were shut down. And I sent it to the FBI office, San Diego, FBI Portland. I know the assistant ASAC. They did nothing with it. And then I realized there really is. They suppressed things all over. So then I was at Kenosha, Wisconsin. when Kyle Rittenhouse walked past me. He goes, "Hey, do you need first aid? Do you need anything?" I said, "No, I'm good." He's just a kid. Everyone was carrying rifles there. And then that shooting erupted. So I was president of Kyle Rittenhouse's shooting. Their defense attorneys called me 4 different times and took all my videos, or I shared my videos with them. Been in Hong Kong. I've been in London. I'm basically a court expert on civil disturbances. The DA's office called me and said, "Hey, we have 2 deputies. I don't want to run you late. 2 deputies are being charged with civil rights violations." And they go, "You're the only guy we know that has been in with Antifa," because I would actually go undercover with them and go into the crowd because I want to hear what these guys are. I know how these guys work. I know how Antifa works. And so they said, "Hey, we look at these videos," and it's from the Walt Vasquez is when he was chief of La Mesa. And they said 2 sheriff deputies are facing civil rights violations. And then I went down to DA's office, and they actually paid me for it. It's the only time they can pay for anything, because I just have a strong belief that First Amendment rights are one of our most important rights. And what you're seeing on the news generally isn't the truth. It's so slanted. So I started to compete with, I want to start competing with CNN, because, for example, at Kyle Rittenhouse, just before the shooting, I'm walking out of the hotel, CNN, ABC, CBS, they're all walking in with their big rigs. I go, "Hey guys, things will get rolling to the second shift. Why you guys all going in?" I said, "We were told we had to go in." I go, "That sucks." They go, "Sure does." And then 2 hours later, 3 hours later, we had the shooting, but there was no major news agencies there. I have video footage from that. So you can go to Ray Shay 1097 or Ray Shay News. I have a lot of videos, I have a lot of stories I've written, but I'm committed to live streaming what happens, what really happens, because I think people are smart enough to figure it out, that I don't even have to say hardly anything. Because if I could have live streamed during the BLM riots, all the things I saw, how I saw ACLU acting, ACLU, they're there with all their cameras, and I see these Antifa guys, and at that time I was undercover, throwing bona fide news people out of the crowd. And I turned to ACLU people, there's 2 females there. "Hey, you're not gonna do anything with that. You're not gonna do anything. You don't even take pictures of that, do you?" And they just turn away from me. They just want to get the cops in trouble. So it's so slanted what's seen. And so I've just made it my personal mission to provide live stream incidents that occur. So anytime, like during the fires up in LA, it was the first time I ever dressed as a fireman. And I thought firefighters aren't going to dig this, but they absolutely loved it because I had press all over. I was able to report differently because press are like cops. Press want to be together. So when you go to these incidents, they're all at a command post, or they're all gathering around, or whether I was in Washington, D.C. when Trump got elected. All the press people are together. No one's in the crowd. So it's a different style of reporting that shows this is what's really happening in America. And I'll just narrate what you see, but you see live what's occurring. So I just solved some technical issues. I finally got people with the different companies that can live stream my stuff. So I will live stream on Facebook, Twitter, and there's a third one. I got a young tech guy that helps me. So hopefully in weeks to come, if there's a international or national incident, myself will go there, and I go by myself. I don't carry a gun. My kids laugh. They go, "Dad, really, your plan is pepper mace and a bunch of $200 in cash." I go, "That's it, fellas." I don't want to shoot anyone, but I want to report what's happening. So I'm credentialed. I've been credentialed for about 3.5 years. I've just learned a lot of how to insert with Antifa, know how they work, how they operate. And I actually wrote a 13-page report to a judge, and those 2 sheriff deputies that were facing civil rights violations, everything was dismissed because of what I wrote, because I could say exactly what they were doing. But thanks for having me on.
Oh man, Ray, you know what? You're gonna have to come back. You're gonna have to come back, and you know what? Just talk the whole show about what you're doing. I mean, talking about having a purpose. We always talk about when you retire, you need to have a purpose. You need to be mission oriented.
Oh, yeah.
And dude, you're that guy. You're that guy, man.
Forward, David. I want to look forward. I want to help people. And there's things that all retired cops can do to help people.
That's right. Yeah, we're definitely bringing you back. Ray, you know what? Once again, brother, it's an honor. And you know what? There's no greater honor than when one of your own praises you. And look at right here, Chris Kilby, a legend with San Diego PD. Shay was a good man. It was an honor to work with and for him. San Diego PD legend. And man, from Chris Kilby, that's an honor.
Sure appreciate you guys. We'll be in touch.
Thank you, brother. We'll see you hopefully very soon, man. Thank you, and God bless you.
David, you guys take care.
I'll give you a call, Ray.
Okay, sounds good. See you, Sean.
Take it easy.
Nice to meet you. Bye-bye.
Guy, man, Bobby, talking about a man that is on a mission and a man that is purpose-driven and mission-oriented, huh?
Yeah, and he's doing media stuff. I'm doing media stuff. Not doing a lot of on-site stuff, but I have gone into Tijuana. I've gone to some of the shelters during the migrant caravans were showing up in Tijuana. I was crossing and going in there. So, man, a lot of props to him, especially going into those areas that if they find out what he's doing, they're not going to be very friendly to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Props. Big props to him.
Man, Doug, thank you. Thank you for bringing him on, man. You know what? It was a great episode. Great episode.
Absolutely.
We'll have him back to talk about his new adventures.
Yes.
Oh, I can't wait. As a matter of fact, when we get off, I'm going to be looking at Ray. Oh, I got all these women here, but as soon as they leave, I'm going to go into Ray Shay news. Hey guys, you know what? We've been missing this, but we're gonna start off since we're all here today. Sean, tell us about Ask Sean. Give us one of the questions that have come in. Share with us, and then let us ask. Once again, we really want you. Those of you that are watching the show, please send us your questions on AskSean.com or Ask Sean. What is it, Sean? I didn't.
AskSean294@gmail.com.
At gmail.com. And Sean, I know you've had those couple of questions. If you could ask maybe 2 questions and to all of us, and maybe we could answer them.
Well, one of the questions that came up was about President Trump reopening Alcatraz, and you know, God love him for thinking about it, but there's other places. My personal opinion, leave Alcatraz alone because it's falling apart anyways. If you've all been there, you know the walls are crumbling. It's going to take way too much. One article that I did read here locally was instead of using Alcatraz, if he wants to make something a prison, San Clemente Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we'd have to take it away from the Navy, but hell, he's the president.
I don't think they do bombings out there anymore, do they?
They still use it. I'll check with the SEAL guys, but I think they still use it as a training site. You know, there's only 2 ways to get there: airplane and a boat. It's like 75 miles off the coast. You know, look at places like that instead of, you know, right in the middle of San Francisco Bay. You know, that'd be one of them. Another question. You know
what? Let's ask Bobby. Bobby and Doug, what's your opinions on that, guys?
On
Alcatraz, Donald Trump, President Trump.
I think a lot of the stuff he does, you know, the ribbing with Canada, where he says we're going to make Canada 51st state. We don't want Canada as our 51st state because it would turn our political. They're extremely left, and we would lose Senate seats and House seats to the left. I think it's more of, you know, just does that for some of the headlines and just sticking it to the Canadians to try to get them to pay their fair share for the defense that we provide for them.
Yeah. Well, we were going to take over Gaza too. Remember, build condominiums there,
make it a resort town.
The Gaza thing was to get the Middle East to step up and say we are going to pay for the reconstruction, and they did. They jumped in already.
They did.
I think on the Alcatraz thing, I'm in agreement with Sean. I think it was more of a hey, look, nothing's outside the box. Everything's on the table. If I have to open up Alcatraz, that's what I'm going to do. You know what's amazing too is, you know, he talked about Guantanamo. He's actually using Guantanamo. You don't see that in the news.
Yeah,
he's actually put people out there.
So
that's another perfect place. Where they're going to escape to? Cuba? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, well, you know what? Or continue sending them to El Salvador.
Yeah.
I mean, last night we had that show on the Tren de Agua, dude. That was a great solution. Send them to El
And the-
Salvador.
And the,
Right.
the president in El Salvador likes us. So so far it's working.
Yeah,
out pretty good.
El Salvador, yeah, Venezuela. The State Department just said, "Hey, if you're an American, don't go to Venezuela. They don't like us. They don't want us there. Just stay the hell away from Venezuela." So,
Hey, Doug, I mean, Sean, we had another question. Give us the other question, the one from Salamander or something like that.
yeah, I don't know who this person is, but he's from Slime City Salamanders. During your police careers, did you ever see or experience promotions within your departments based on race, nepotism, or friendship rather than merit? That in itself is a whole show, but the simple answer is yes.
Yes.
It happened all the time. It happened all the time.
That is-
As an example, a job opening would come out, and I'll use one of mine as an example. I was really interested in this position, and my captain and lieutenant called the captain and the lieutenant in that division, in that unit, is this wide open? And they emphatically said, yes, it's wide open. So I go in for my interview, and I'm hanging around outside in the office area, and one of the guys I've known for years said, "Hey, what are you doing here?" I said, "I'm here to interview for the position." And he goes, "Why?" That goes, "Because I want to work up here, da, da, da." And he goes, "I'll tell you who's going to get it." And he named the person.
Yeah.
And I went in for an interview. I was almost 45 minutes long. In fact, the lieutenant that interviewed me, the legal pads, 3 or 4 pages of everything that I talked about. And went back to my division and said, "Hey, how it went?" It went really well, I'm real confident. And guess what? The person that he named got the position.
Yeah.
Went back for a feedback. Said, "You had everything you were looking for, but basically it was a tell."
Yeah.
Waste of time. Complete waste of time.
Sean, was that person a person of color, or was it a relative, or was it a best friend of the person conducting the interview?
No, it wasn't a person of color. It was.
There's no need to say who it was, but can you tell us?
it was
Where the association was?
Yeah, there was an association with people in that unit.
Yeah.
And it was unfortunate. So,
Same thing happens
but
at Phoenix PD.
yeah, it happens all the time, and unfortunately, another example, when I went to the K9 unit, they hadn't had a K9 list for years. So long story short, we did all the K9 interviews. We did the shooting tests, the K9 tryouts with the dogs and all this other stuff. And we had a list of names, ranking our top candidate all the way down to the bottom. I presented it to my command, and the chief looked at it and said, "I want this guy." And he was the bottom of the list. And, God love him for trying out and all that, but there's no way. He wasn't a good street cop. He had poor reviews from his command, and he did the bare minimum. He just barely squeaked by to get on that list. And I said, "No, it's not going to happen." And that caused some other friction later on. But it happens all the time.
Was that a person of color? Or was it a person? That was a person of color. That was
a color. Yeah.
Okay. Bobby, you were going to say something, Bobby?
No, just the same thing happens at Phoenix PD. We had after the George, I don't remember what happened. We had an incident in Phoenix in the black community, and a chief position was opening up. We had a lot of good people apply within our department, and everybody knew from way back we had a female join the PD when she was a rookie. Everyone said she is going to be our chief of police. She was a wife of a city council person, and she was a black female, and she got it. And her tenure was a disaster. She got caught lying, and she got caught lying pretty bad, and they allowed her to hey, it's time. Upon reflection, it's time for me to spend some time with my family, and she walked away. But she should have been fired. Yeah, it was a disaster.
Yeah. I think my biggest
I mean, I came across that many times in my career, but I think the one that hit me the most was I was asked to be on an interview board. Remember when they started the area station narcotics teams? So they were supposed to supplement the big downtown team, and they were supplementing them with, this happened at Mid City. So there was going to be a sergeant, one detective, and then patrol officers were going to be selected to work in a detective capacity on these narcotics teams. So it was myself, another sergeant who was an investigative sergeant who just came from NTF, which was the Narcotics Task Force, and then the sergeant who was going to run the team. And we interviewed, I don't know, probably 20, 30 officers for this job. And it was going to be staffed by 8 officers. And so we were to come up with 2 lists. The primary list and then the secondary list of guys that we would use to fill in as people would be rotating out of the squad. It was a 1-year assignment. Do the interviews. I go on my days off. They make the selections. I start getting all kinds of phone calls from the officers saying, hey, the list came out, I wasn't on it. Can I do a feedback? I'm like, yeah, do a feedback. And I was really, really worried about this list because at that time, the people that were being picked weren't the people that, as a group, the 3 of us had suggested. None of those people made it to that team. And I thought, was there, and we were supposed to be privy to, any type of pending discipline, any internal investigations, that kind of stuff we were supposed to know about. So we wouldn't recommend them for the job until that stuff had been, adjudicated. I was on graveyards at the time. So I talked to some of these officers and I says, look, your interview was great. I thought you did a great job. I can't, you were one of many that were recommended. I didn't tell them what the ranking was. I go, I don't have any explanation for you. So you'll have to go talk to the lieutenant. And about 2 days later, I got a call from the lieutenant to go meet him in his office right after shift. He came in the morning and I got my ass chewed out because I was not supposed to tell them that they were on the list or that they were recommended. I was supposed to tell them these are the things you need to work on. And I asked the lieutenant, I go, what do you tell somebody that aced the interview? There's nothing for them to work on. They've done everything we've asked them to do. And they were number 1 through number 10 on that list of who was going to go with that team. And they weren't selected. What am I supposed to tell them? And he goes, you lie. And I said, I don't ever want to be on it. I never want to. And it wasn't because of color. It wasn't because of gender. None of that. It was more nepotism. It was somebody knew somebody and they wanted these people there. So the sergeant who ran the team didn't even have a choice as to who was coming to his team.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the last time I was on any interview board.
And then for him to tell you to lie.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. People get fired for that.
Yep.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Guys, we have a question. And you know what? From George Norris. And the reason why we're mentioning it, George Norris, he's the president of the International Latino Gang Investigator Association, former sergeant with one of the Maryland PDs, and very well respected. Has been on our show, expert on MS-13, and now I believe he's becoming an expert on the Tren de Agua. But he's asking us this: what's your opinion on Trump commuting Larry Hoover's federal sentence? I'm not sure how to feel. Laugh out loud. He still is 73 years old and has a 200-year state sentence. First of all, I don't know who Larry Hoover is. Can you guys enlighten me who he is?
The founder of the Crips, isn't it? Is that what he's talking about?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I think Larry Hoover was he? Yes, the founder of the Crips.
So why is he commuting his sentence?
I hadn't even heard of that.
Yeah. I hadn't heard that.
You heard about it, Sean?
No, I haven't heard about it at all.
Doug, if you could pull it up real quick. Yeah, founder of the Gangster Disciples.
Okay.
Founder of the Gangster Disciples?
Yeah.
Okay. Out of Chicago. Yeah, I hadn't heard about that. That's right, because Larry Hoover, I think the other Hoover for the Crips, I think he's dead. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. I had not heard of that.
Yeah. No, that'd be something to look into.
Yes. So, do you have an opinion on that, Doug? You're reading it?
Read it yourself.
No,
Doug. You're hitting the button, brother.
No, I'm hitting it because the train, and I forget to untick it. Seriously, I have a train that runs by our house 2 blocks away.
oh,
I'm kind of a hardliner when it comes to homicides. I don't care if you're on your deathbed in prison. If you were sentenced to prison by a jury for committing homicides, that's where you belong. No commuting, no. I can have sympathy for the guy, like, hey, maybe get him to a hospital, but I bet that's occurred, right? If he's ailing or whatever. But just because he's old, I'm sorry that his victims never got to be old. So I'm really strict on that. Unless there's convincing evidence that they did not do, but that goes through the court. That doesn't come through commutations of a governor or a president. I don't. If it's homicide, I'm sorry, it doesn't.
yeah.
I'm with you.
There's no walking away from that.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I hope that
Hey, guys,
answers George's questions.
Well, I think it's all of our opinion on that, Doug. Thank you for answering it without a doubt. And guys, once again, we're at the end of the show now, but send your questions to AskSean3294@gmail.com. Please send us your questions. And please, yes, like the Menendez brothers.
Absolutely.
Jesse asked that question a couple of weeks ago, but she didn't send it to us. But you know what? If you guys have time, let's talk about that. What do you guys think about the Menendez brothers? They were just, a couple of weeks ago, granted an opportunity to change their sentence from life without parole to life with parole.
Yes.
What's your opinion? And Bobby, we'll start off with you. What's your opinion on that?
No, it's been a couple of weeks or maybe a month or so that I looked. After I read the case, I thought these people need to die in prison. It was horrible.
Yeah.
When they came back and killed the mother, they had to go out, get some more ammo. He was out of ammo and killed the mom. I mean, that was not, like they'll say, it's a crime, it happened like that. Somebody loses their cool. This was planned. It was carried out. And they had time to think about it. I was like, I have no sympathy for the Menendez brothers.
Doug?
I agree. I mean, I didn't know much about the case until they did a Netflix thing on him, and I said, that not everything sounds right on Netflix anyway. So I started looking into it, and these guys were adults living with mom and dad, and for them, so they were claiming that they were abused by their father. Okay, a lot of children are abused by their parents, but they move out. You leave when you're an adult. You get out of the house. You get yourself out of that position. But these guys were living high on the hog off their parents because it was a wealthy family. So for me, that excuse doesn't count. You might be able to excuse some of it with the father, as far as like life with parole, right? You might get off because they were abused by their father, but not their mother. Not their mother. It doesn't. That doesn't. I don't give a shit. Not their mother. It doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't compute to me. You were in your 20s. If you didn't want to be yelled at anymore, you didn't want to be belittled anymore, leave. You're grown men. Get out of the house.
Absolutely.
And they partied and stuff afterwards, like it was no big deal.
They went on a spending spree. But what you see is these family members, I don't remember them coming up and supporting them during the original trial.
No.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So once again, I think we're all in accord on that one too, that rot in prison. Yeah. Rot in prison, and you know what? You don't kill your mother like that.
Right.
No.
And you know what? It hasn't been proven that they were even molested. Right. I watched a Netflix special.
I was like,
I couldn't watch it. I only watched the first episode. It was like 6 stories. I couldn't watch it because you know what? It was just too graphic. The molestation, the way they murdered. I couldn't watch it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And no, rot in prison. Rot in prison.
You're done. You don't kill people.
Yeah. Hey, Bobby, tell us. You have the whole month of June. Tell us who. I'm looking forward. I believe it's June 25th. You have Hector Bareilles coming on. But Bobby, I was thinking, what are the chances of not only getting Hector Bareilles because he knew Richard very, very well. According to him, he recruited him, etc. Knew him and the family very well. But what are the chances on that day that you have Richard's brother on the show with us, and then have him sing that song that he sang at the funeral or at the burial grounds the day that I flew down there last year? What are the chances of you surprising us with that, Bobby?
I'm going to reach out to him. I'm going to see. I talk to Billy, to Bubba. I talk to Bubba about every few months. I'm going to reach out to him. Next Wednesday, we're going to have Rudy Dominguez. Rudy worked the kidnapping cases in Phoenix after I left. He took over the group that was doing the kidnappings when we had the kidnapping crisis in Phoenix. And then the following week, we're going to have Rudy Casillas, who was a partner of Richard at one time working at DEA. Rudy and I were partners. His photo is in one of the intros where we had done, I think we did a 3 or 4 kilo cocaine buy bus. And then I think the next week we'll have Hector. And then the following week, the last week, I'm thinking of bringing on Chris Faisal. His book will be coming out.
Yeah, you know what, Bobby? The third week, we're gonna have a show where all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all 7 of us are gonna be on the show because we're not gonna have a show that Wednesday. I believe it's the 18th. We're gonna be, guys, just be aware. We're gonna be on the 17th on Tuesday, and we're gonna show a video of a San Diego police officer's father, who I believe was a lieutenant colonel in the military, and his son transferred after 10 years with San Diego PD, went to Idaho Police Department, and committed suicide. I sent you guys the video.
Yes.
Committed suicide in his patrol car. Well, we're gonna show the video, and that's the night that we're gonna unveil the new song. I finally got enough pictures where once a month we're gonna honor our forgotten heroes. Okay. So we're all gonna be that Tuesday. So it'll be that following week. But Bobby, we're looking forward. It's gonna be a great episode. And guys, real quick, I know that we said we were gonna be quick, but next week, please watch this episode. This is a San Diego detective, Ali Perez. If you get a chance, purchase his book. If you can't purchase his book, watch this episode. This man was shot with a 308 rifle. It was an M1, shot numerous times in the body, I believe in the shoulder, and I believe twice in the shoulder arm. And he died at the scene. And what he experienced, it's called NDE, near-death experience. Guys, it's going to blow you away when he saw Jesus Christ. And that's all I'm going to say. What he saw right there and then as he's bleeding to death, it's going to be a great episode. That's next week. And also, before I forget, I just gave a 2-hour, dude, I always talk about 1 hour. This guy had me on for 2 hours. It's in Spanish, but it's on El Bordo. It's a great interview. I talk about how we went into a prison and we literally kidnapped 2 individuals that were wanted by the FBI here. It's a great, but it's in Spanish. Like I said, if you guys get a chance, please watch it. But
great.
Yeah,
great interview.
What did you think, Bobby? It was interesting.
Very interesting. I watched it.
Yeah, it was really good. If you get on El Bordo. But guys, with that said, man, what a show. Like I said, Doug, thank you very much. You had the month of May, and man, you pulled through with literally, man, just colors, man. You outdid yourself, especially with Ray Shay tonight. Outstanding. Guys, with that said, Bobby, any last words, my brother, for our people?
Thanks for all you that are following. Don't forget, hit like, and if you enjoyed the show, share it with your friends. Thanks again for joining us.
Big Sean?
Yeah, earlier on today, I spoke with Nick Wynn from the First Responders Whiskey Society, and hopefully in the future, we're going to be collaborating with him on some issues, some things. So more to follow on that. So that should be pretty good, pretty interesting.
and advice for our listeners?
Just be safe and situational awareness.
Amen. Doug?
I just want to give a shout out to my buddy Patrick Murphy. He's a retired detective sergeant from the PD. I just picked him up at the airport today and dropped him off on one of the trailheads for the Appalachian Trail. He's a big hiker, so he's going to only be on the trail for a few weeks because his dad's ill back home and he doesn't want to be gone for too long. So just have safe travels, Pat, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. That's it.
And guys, we'll see you next week. And Pat, hey, I know you always call me Yard Dog, but brother, we miss you. We love you. And hopefully we'll have you on the show. Next time Doug's around, we'll have you on the show. And I'm going to quote what Bobby's son said. You know what? Trust the process. No matter what you're going through, whether it's an illness, whether it's PTSD, whether it's a marriage, whether it's your children, no matter what you're going through, trust the process, but above and beyond, like Bobby always says, you know what? Trust the author. And our author is our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. We'll see you next Tuesday. We'll see you next Wednesday. God bless you.
Good night.
Used to spend my nights out in a ballroom. Liquor was the only love I'd known. But you rescued me from reaching for the bottom.